This is not an actor, and this is not a reconstruction. The person walking through this Texas church is wearing a helmet, dark tactical clothing, and a vest marked police, but investigators say the clothing's authenticity is unknown. Minutes later, a fitness instructor named Missy Bevers would enter this building. She would never leave alive. The most disturbing part is not that the killer avoided every camera, it is that they walked directly in front of them and still disappeared. Terry Missy Bevers was a 45-year-old mother and fitness instructor. Before sunrise on April 18, 2016, she drove to Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. She was there to prepare for a Camp Gladiator workout scheduled to begin at 5 in the morning. It was the kind of hour when almost the entire town was asleep. The church should have been quiet, empty, safe. But before Missy arrived, someone else was already moving through its hallways. The cameras did not capture a visible face. They captured a disguise and a sequence of movements that would become the center of one of America's most unsettling unsolved cases. Look carefully at the real surveillance footage. At first, the frame appears almost ordinary. Polished floors, closed doors, an empty reception area. Then the figure enters. The person appears dressed in police-style tactical equipment. A helmet hides the head. Dark clothing changes the outline of the body. The heavy gear makes basic physical features, body shape, build, and possibly even gender, difficult to determine. The figure does not sprint through the building. They do not appear surprised by the cameras. Instead, they move from one door to another, looking inside rooms and testing entrances. At different moments, the person appears to be carrying tools, and they seem strangely calm. That calm behavior creates the first major question. Was this person searching for something, or were they waiting for someone? The footage cannot answer that, and the difference matters. The word police can be seen across the suspect's back, but a label is not an identity. Investigators have said the authenticity of the equipment is unknown. The uniform may have served two purposes. It concealed the person underneath it, and it could make anyone who encountered them hesitate for one crucial second. But we have to remain with what the evidence actually shows. The video shows a person wearing police-style clothing. It does not prove that the person was a police officer. It does not prove that the equipment was professional. And it does not prove that the disguise was selected specifically for Missy. Those possibilities may sound convincing, but they require evidence the public has never seen. What we can observe is the person's behavior. Doors are checked, rooms are entered, glass and property appear to be disturbed, and the disguised figure remains inside the church before Missy's class is scheduled to begin. Now ignore the helmet, ignore the uniform, watch the feet. The suspect's unusual walk became one of the investigation's most recognizable details. Police observed that the feet appeared to turn outward, particularly the right foot. Investigators also conducted a height analysis. They estimated that the distance from the floor to the top of the suspect's headwear was approximately 5 feet 8 inches. But neither clue is as simple as it sounds. The helmet adds height. The equipment may change the person's posture. Heavy footwear can alter someone's stride. And police cautioned that the unusual gait could have resulted from an injury, a temporary condition, or another unknown factor. That means the same person might not walk in exactly the same way today. The gait looks distinctive enough to remember, but not unique enough to identify someone by itself. That is the trap hidden inside this footage. Almost every visible clue comes with uncertainty attached. Shortly after 4 in the morning, Missy arrived at the church to prepare for her class. The police-released footage does not show the fatal encounter. It does not reveal the exact moment Missy and the disguised person crossed paths. What happened between them remains outside the surveillance material released to the public. Around the time participants began arriving for the 5 o'clock workout, Missy was discovered unresponsive. She had suffered fatal injuries. The quiet church was now a homicide scene. For Missy's family, this is not an internet mystery. It is not a game of matching faces, comparing walks, or building dramatic theories. It is the loss of a mother, a wife, and a real person. Any examination of this case has to begin and end with that fact. The person inside the church was not the only unidentified presence recorded that morning. Investigators also examined the light-colored vehicle captured near a closed business in the hours before the murder. Police described it as appearing consistent with the 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima an Infiniti G37 or another similar vehicle. The vehicle moved slowly through the parking area, its lights switched off and on. It remained there briefly before leaving. It is an important lead, but not a solved connection. Police have not publicly established who was driving it, nor have they proven publicly that the driver was the person recorded inside the church. So the case contains two unidentified shapes in the darkness, a disguised figure moving through the church, and a light-colored vehicle moving through a nearby parking area. Both were recorded. Neither produced a public identification. Strip away the rumors, and the church footage still reveals four important things. First, the clothing concealed the person extremely well. Second, the suspect was inside before Missy arrived. Third, the person had enough time to move through multiple areas, test doors, and appear before several cameras. And fourth, they did not behave like someone who had simply wandered into the wrong building. But the footage does not tell us why they were there. Burglary, staging, waiting for someone, those are interpretations, not established conclusions. That distinction is why careless accusations are so dangerous. A similar walk is not proof. A similar height is not proof. Owning tactical equipment is not proof. Knowing the victim is not proof. And looking convincing in a comparison video is not proof. The person responsible must be identified through evidence, not through resemblance edited into a compelling story. Years later, the central contradiction has only become more disturbing. The suspect was not merely a shadow at the edge of a single camera. They crossed open hallways. They turned. They stopped. They entered rooms. They gave investigators multiple angles and gave the public a walk that millions of people could examine. Yet the things the cameras captured most clearly were the very things apparently selected to hide them. The helmet, the vest, the dark clothing, the police markings, and possibly even a deliberately altered appearance. Technology preserved the person's movements, but not their name. And somewhere beyond these frames is information no security camera could record. Who possessed equipment like this? Who understood the church's location or layout? Who remembers someone with an injury around April 2016? Who recognized that outward turning walk? And who remembers a light-colored vehicle moving through Midlothian before sunrise? Those questions must be handled responsibly. Online speculation has repeatedly placed innocent people under suspicion. A theory can be repeated so many times that viewers begin treating it as evidence. But repetition does not make a claim true. The footage deserves careful examination. Missy deserves something more important: the truth. Eventually, the disguised figure leaves the camera's view. The hallway becomes empty again. But this case is not empty. It contains a real victim, a family still waiting, investigators still searching, and evidence that may mean something to the right person. The camera recorded a disguise. Someone may still recognize the person underneath it. Until that person is identified through evidence, one final question remains. Who was already inside the church when Missy Bevers arrived?